still can't get over your response. Oh my goodness. Welcome to another episode of the OC Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valera. On today's episode, we're going to continue on with our watching of the OC Podcast. Today's episode is Season 1, Episode 18. 18, right? Yep.
Yeah.
The Truth. As always, I am joined by my partner here, Kenzie. How are you today?
I'm good. This episode, it did some things for me.
I
won't lie to you. I've watched the show maybe 7 or 8 times all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And like at the beginning of the episode, I was like, oh, next week's episode I really like. And then like Marissa put this shirt on and I remember the shirt in the specific instance at the end of the episode. And I was like, holy shit, it's this episode. And you know that whole thing with Michael Scott where he's like, it's happening, calm down. That was me in my living room alone watching this with my dog.
I like that. I was trying to vaguely remember myself. I'm like, we're episode or 2 away from the big one, right? I do find it crazy that season 1 had 27 episodes, right? That's like a random number. You know what I mean? It's random. But when I was looking, I was like, oh, because again, I try not to look at the synopsis until whenever we talk about the episode, obviously, because, it is what it is. It's funny. But this week's synopsis is not terrible.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it really isn't. It's literally like a sentence. So
I like it.
Yeah, exactly. This week's episode, season 1, episode 18, is called The Truth. Now sure of the truth, Ryan races against time to keep Oliver from hurting himself or Marissa.
Oh, that's good.
It's solid, but at the same, it kind of gives a little something. You know what I mean? Like,
it bothers me a little because yes, Ryan knows the truth, but does that really matter? As is a theme throughout this episode that like it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Kind of like, I just want to say, for the record, I know Luke has been on Ryan's side, but even in this episode, he doesn't address that he agrees with Ryan to anyone until it's too late.
Exactly.
Like, I think if in previous episodes, instead of just siding only to Ryan in front of only Ryan.
I don't trust this guy.
Yeah, like say that in front of Marissa too. Like he waits till there's no one around. And like when he finally addresses it in this episode, I'm like, it's like 6 episodes too late, bro. Like, but I have a serious question. Everyone knows he got arrested for cocaine. Mm-hmm. And no one's like, maybe he's unstable.
Right. It literally just happened. You know what I mean? It's not like it was, I don't know, man.
Like I'm all about giving people second chances, but
this wouldn't be his second chance.
Ryan is on probation, as Sandy brings up.
Right.
Would Marissa not be like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't expose my boyfriend who's on probation and at risk of losing everything, being around this guy that just tried to buy cocaine?
It's sad because like Marissa has went from like Summer was the dumbest written character on the show to now Marissa.
And in the end, like the first 5 minutes, they prove that she is not dumb, Summer.
Oh my God.
And they prove that Marissa is super dumb.
Exactly. Oh my God.
There's even a moment at the very end of the episode where someone else surprisingly brings up Marissa's dumb, and I could not stop laughing. So it was like, yeah. Never thought I'd be agreeing with this guy, but here I am.
Blows my mind. Episode opens. Ryan's
My first note is I want the Cohen's house.
Exactly.
It's just so nice. Ryan's heartbroken. Ryan's suspended.
Yes.
Pending to hear if he's going to be expelled.
Yes.
Which I have a question that goes throughout the whole episode. When you're suspended, do you not do schoolwork? I thought you did, just at home. But he's like not doing anything every time they show him.
Nothing.
I thought you did schoolwork just like at home.
Yeah. I was blown away. Like he wasn't. I mean, when you're suspended, you're not even allowed to go up to the school. But we'll deal with that later, much later.
But like they have another child at the school that could have brought in homework for him. Like
right, exactly.
Because like if you got in school suspension, you were in that little room and like you would do classwork.
Exactly.
I thought like expelled was the only time you don't do schoolwork.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
expelled, you
If
just have no school to go to.
Yeah, if anybody's listening that was ever suspended, no judgment. It happens.
Yeah.
Please let me know if you do schoolwork.
Yeah.
I could probably Google this, I guess. But it was just like bothering me that like they showed him quite often at home doing nothing. And I was like,
laying in bed just.
Also,
staring at
if
the
I
roof.
were in trouble, my parents gave me extra chores and all this housework to do.
They have a
And
massive house. There's a lot to do, I'm sure.
And like we haven't seen their housekeeper Rosa since the very second episode. So like, who's doing the housework?
Exactly.
It's not Seth.
Oh yeah, we know it's not. We know it's not Seth.
It's definitely not Seth.
I had a problem here. Ryan tries to explain himself to Sandy.
He doesn't let him.
No. It was.
And to me, he kind of like he called Sandy and did the right thing when Oliver got caught with trying to buy cocaine.
Right.
And he involved an adult and was like, this is bad. And to me, we talked about this and they let them all go to Palm Springs. And they were like, do we know anything about Oliver? I'm like, other than the fact that he got arrested trying to buy cocaine and Sandy had to bail him out and his parents didn't even bother to show up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, they don't even care. And then this whole thing's happening. And I swear there's been like 4 or 5 instances where Ryan has tried to tell Sandy, I don't trust this kid. And like,
the theme of the episode is, why didn't you come to me? Yes.
And then he brought it up in front of Dr. Kim. And then Dr. Kim turned it around on him and was like, you also came from an unstable home.
Right.
Like all this other stuff, which I understand. But to me, Ryan knows him better than anyone else, even though there's a differ of like background with wealth. But Ryan knows what it's like to be a troubled kid and making right and wrong decisions.
Exactly.
Because when Ryan got in the car with his brother in the pilot episode, he was like, this is wrong. And that's what establishes that Ryan is a good kid who just like was in the wrong situation.
Exactly.
But Oliver is wealthy, which they've established, and his parents don't care for him, which is probably why he makes such poor decisions. Right. But like Ryan would know better than anyone, like, hey, like I had a messed up family life, but I knew when situations were wrong and right, and I can see this kid sucks.
Sandy would know too, right? Like,
yeah, like
has
Sandy
dealt with these kids his entire life. He's a lawyer. He gets these kids.
Like, I'm sorry, Sandy in the last episode was like, this kid is not funny about Danny, but cannot pick up on the fact that Oliver is a psychopath. And so Sandy's kind of giving him the rundown, like, you're on probation. Mm-hmm. You can get it taken away from us still. Like, we're still in this situation where you can get. And he basically says, next time you think about raising your fist, think about opening your mouth. And I'm like, he's trying to tell you that this kid is messed up, and you're literally like, zip it.
Not even listening to him.
But then the funniest part about this whole thing is, so the next scene cuts to Summer and Marissa talking. And out of everyone, Sandy, Kirsten, Caleb, Seth, Summer's the one who understands.
And calls him out. Calls her out. Like, she's like, he thinks that Oliver is in love with me.
And Summer, isn't he?
Thank you.
And then Marissa's like, no, we're just friends. And I'm like, okay, first off, if you're getting this defensive, that means you know.
Exactly.
And it bothers you, but you don't want to address it because you like him as a friend, which I don't understand.
No.
Because every time they show them talking this episode, Marissa seems like back off, relax, bro. And I'm like,
she's creeped out, but at the same time, she's like, all right, I'm gonna.
So I'm like, what is the plus side? I mean, I don't know. Yeah. But then Marissa's like going on and on and on about like Ryan punched him for no reason, and Summer's like, sure, Ryan's violent, but like, he's not stupid. Like, he's not gonna punch him for no reason. Exactly. And then Marissa's like, no, that's what he does. He doesn't talk. He just punches. And then Summer's like, I don't think that's true. Like. She's like, think about Luke. Like, he was being mean to you behind your back. Yeah. And you know who saw it? Ryan.
Exactly.
And she's like, even Luke acknowledges that now. And Marissa's like, well, it's different. And Summer's like, is it? Like.
It took us 17 episodes in like 5 minutes for Summer, and now she's the smartest person in the entire.
Also,
Like,
side note, she has a Birkin bag, and I'm like, she's in high school. Why does she have a Birkin bag? I mean, it's like a house payment. So,
yeah.
like, what's going on? Like,
Remember, she just runs the credit. It's lunchtime. My dad gave me the credit card, so I'm
but
pretty
you
sure
can't even just get a Birkin bag with a credit card. There's a waiting list. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
How does she have a Birkin bag? Explain.
So the two things that we need to find out after this episode so far, guys, are one, do you do work whenever you have out of school suspension? And two, how did Summer get the Birkin bag?
Exactly.
And then of course Summer tries to hang out with Marissa, but then of course she's hanging out with Oliver doing everything.
I just like Summer looks so sad, and she's like,
Oh my
when
God,
are we gonna hang out? And I'm like, they're the weirdest best friends ever.
We talk about this so much about how they're the worst best friends
I just feel like
ever.
Summer's not really ever there for Marissa, and then like she tries to be there for Marissa, and then Marissa like pushes her away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like Summer had this look on her face, like, I just want to be your stupid fucking friend. And Marissa's like, well, Oliver, the guy that isn't in love with me, demands I'm with him 24/7.
And Summer's going through some stuff right now.
Yeah, and
you know
like
what I mean?
Summer keeps saying Seth Cohen. And I'm like, she's saying his full name because she's going crazy. So can you like pick up on that? Like,
yes. Like, be a good friend. Be like, oh, okay, hey, Oliver, I can't come over tonight. And then he's
or
like,
hear me out.
You can't come over?
Hear me out. She invited Ryan to come over to the hotel with Oliver. Why didn't she just invite Summer?
Exactly. Right?
Like if someone was like, hey, want to go to this hotel with me and order room service and do homework? I'd be like, hell yeah. Like,
the only person that forced Marissa to be friends with her friends is Oliver.
Yeah, like, I don't get it.
Why don't we invite Luke and Summer and Anna and Seth and everybody but you? But no, I'm going to go over there by myself to this guy's house who completely is wrecking havoc on my entire existence.
I just don't get how she doesn't see, like, what's happening.
It's blinding and maddening.
It's so weird.
Anna and Seth, man, oh man.
He's so dismissive to her.
So sad.
And she keeps like giving him this look where I'm like, is he also having this Marissa thing where he just can't see? Like, I'm so confused.
Oh my!
Because
it's the theme of the entire episode.
I think every man has been on the receiving end of the looks that Anna's giving Seth. Exactly. And like, if I give my husband that look, he's like, oh shit, what did I do? Like, immediately.
Right.
I mean, like, yeah, they're not married, but like they've been around each other enough to where he knows that's not a good thing.
And she gives it to him like 5 times in this episode.
Yeah, and
Sandy picks up on it.
Yeah, that's what bothers me, is that Sandy picks up. But then again, Sandy's married, so he knows better.
Yeah, yes.
But I just don't get it. But also, like, what bothers me the most is Seth made a decision. He's the one that chose Anna.
Yes.
Like, you could have picked Summer. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I just love how awkward it is when Anna and Seth run into Marissa and Summer. And they're like, you know what? This is awkward, but it doesn't mean we can't be friends now that Ryan and Marissa aren't dating. But then Oliver must know and just appears, and he's so uncomfortable. And Summer's face this whole time is hilarious. He's like, Oliver rolls up out of nowhere, by the way, out of nowhere.
Fattest lip I've ever seen.
And he's like a psychopath. He's like, what's up this weekend? We going to Mammoth? Like, what's up? What's up? What's up? And then Summer's face is just like, can you please stop fucking talking? Like, and they're like, your lip. And then he says this line so creepily and like locks eye contact with Marissa. And it's really weird. And he just is talking about looking sexy and not scary. And I'm like, it looks infected. Like, I think you should go to the nurse. Like, I don't know why you don't have a Band-Aid on it. Like one of those little stitch Band-Aids.
Yes.
And then Marissa and him walk away, and Summer's kind of just like, I can't believe like he got what he wanted. Like, he got Marissa all to himself.
Yeah.
And it's just weird.
Yes.
But it's also weird because I'm like, this must suck for Summer because like this is kind of why throughout the episode she like leeches onto Seth because like she doesn't have a friend to talk to about it.
Yeah.
But what drives me nuts is, can she not just go talk to Ryan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Ryan wouldn't understand more than anyone, and it would probably make Ryan feel better if Marissa's best friend, in air quotes, was like, you know what? I also don't trust this guy.
Yes. And that's
It's
the thing.
really
like,
weird.
So we got Luke, we've got Summer, and of course we have Ryan, but we have Luke and Summer, two people that have been shown as the dumbest people on the show for 17 episodes,
Picking
are
up on
now
it.
the smartest people on the show. Seth, who you would consider
The smartest
out of everybody on the show, is blinded by it.
I also don't get that, like, so Luke and Summer were believed to have known Marissa the longest, which is probably why they see it the most.
Right.
But like, isn't Seth normally like a good judge of character also?
Very much so.
Like,
He hated Luke from the moment. I mean, obviously he's picking on him and stuff like that too. But like, he would look whenever he would introduce Ryan to people when they first got to the school.
He was like, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Like, and like, I don't know, like Seth trusted Ryan right away. And not because he just desperately wanted a friend, but he knew Ryan was different than everyone else around him.
Exactly.
And it's like, he knew Anna wasn't just some uppity brat right away. Like, right. He is a good judge of character.
And it's not like it's not like Seth is poor, so like Oliver's money means something to him. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that. He can't be blinded by this, oh my God, lavish lifestyle, considering look at their house.
Yeah.
Hello. So it's not like that either. So it doesn't make any sense. Like, it does not make any sense that Luke and Summer are the only two that make any sense on this show right now. I don't really know what's going on right now. Let's see. Sandy's questioning life right now.
I hate it. It makes me really uncomfortable. He's like having lunch with Kirsten in her office. He's like, was this a mistake? And she's like, what, letting Ryan stay home alone? He's like, no, just bringing him home in general. I'm like, what?
It
was unnecessary. It was weird.
Because if anybody that would have never questioned it, he would be that guy.
Yeah, and it's weird that it's like Kirsten didn't even go there because she's just like, he's part of our family now.
Yes.
And it's like, you truly don't think he's part of your family if you're like, should I have brought him home?
Yeah, should I have? Yeah.
It's like people that get dogs just to take pictures of them or something. Like, it made me really uncomfortable. Like, I was like, I don't need this. I was gladly welcoming the chaos that ensued of all these men in coveralls coming in, picking up furniture, like, we got a work order, you got to get out of here. Just like, excuse me.
Like,
and Julie comes in. Julie comes in like, oh no, you're not supposed to be here. I'm remodeling. Like, remodeling? Like, get out of here. And then I love that Caleb comes in furious. He's like, Kiki, my desk. And Julie's like, it'll be done by the time lunch is over. Like, let's go to lunch.
I love how he like yells at Kirsten for it. You know what I mean?
But it's Julie's fault.
Exactly. And then they're at home. And then of course Kirsten's is gonna work from home now, right?
Which is so, I don't understand the transition of like, nobody saw her take all her stuff out, that Julie's like surprised that she's working from home.
Right.
It's very weird. Of course,
the line of the episode, Julie goes, we're celebrating my new position. And Sandy goes, I'm not touching that one.
It's so funny.
Oh, man. Here comes your buddy.
Well, so I have a lot of problems with this lunch scene with Oliver and Marissa.
Mm-hmm.
It's where is Summer? 1, where is she? 2, he is so defensive and like so like antagonizing of the situation, and she looks so deeply uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I'm like, how is she not like, is this what Ryan was talking about? Like, and then Luke, out of all people, I don't get the whole like Luke just sits down to have lunch with them. It's really weird. But I'll take it. But then Oliver's talking about how Marissa can't go to her mom's because she'll be next to Ryan. And Luke is kind of just like, isn't it like Marissa's decision? Like, what are you talking about? Why are you saying this?
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, Marissa. And he's like, whoa. Can Marissa talk to me, or is like that not allowed? And then Marissa's phone starts ringing, and it's Ryan.
Yep.
And Luke is like, you're not going to answer? And she's like, no. And then Luke and Oliver kind of get in a little tissy.
Yep.
And then Luke is just like, you know what? Screw this. I'm leaving.
He just bolts.
Like, he's like, goodbye. But I think, I just don't get, like, I just don't. He just gives up really fast. And then Ryan leaves a message asking Marissa to meet up with him in the library after school. And the only reason we know this is because Oliver listens to it and erases it. Didn't flip phones have like a passcode on your voicemail?
Yes. And then, I don't know. I just, yes. I had a, for me, I don't really leave, especially when I'm out, right?
I'm not going to just leave my phone.
Exactly. If I'm at my house, whatever. I'll leave it somewhere, whatever. But if I'm at lunch or if I'm at school, I'm not just going to drop my phone and leave it there and then
for
come
anyone
back.
to
Exactly.
use.
So then we get transitioned into another awkward ass scene with Seth and Anna. Seth's trying to kind of break apart with Anna right then. He's going to go check on Ryan. She says, I'll go with you. And he's like, no, I'll just do it. And then summer arrives.
And then all of a sudden, he wants to do all the things that he was trying to get out of with Anna.
Yes. No,
and Anna kind of just like looks at him. And she's like, I thought you had to check on Ryan. And then you see Ryan walking. And he's like, wait a minute, I got to go. And he is genuinely like worried.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with Seth. I'm like, what are you doing here? Do you really have to meet up with her here?
Ryan leaves his house a lot.
I thought they didn't have a lot of car. Like, I thought they didn't have an extra car. And that's why Marissa always took him.
Because at the end of near the end of the episode, he has the keys.
It's really weird. I don't get it. If I were in trouble and out school suspension, I don't think I would have car keys easily accessible to me.
And they're home right now too, so that makes it even worse. How did he just leave the house without Sandy and Kirsten knowing about it? Because remember, they're at home because Kirsten is working from home. Even if one of them left for lunch or whatever it was, I don't know.
It's very weird. Yeah. But then Oliver shows up instead of Marissa, and he's like, Marissa wants nothing to do with you. Marissa's going to get a restraining order. And Ryan, as the hilarious Cohen he is like, well, you would know a lot about that.
It's so funny.
But Oliver's straight up lying here, but he's very vindictive. He's really scary. He's not being aloof anymore. He's being straight up like scary.
Cold-hearted, man.
And he's like, Marissa doesn't want to talk to you. Don't call her. Don't show up. Don't do anything. Wants nothing to do with you. And then he just leaves. And he's like, this is over. And Ryan's like, this is not over. And I'm like, okay, you're already suspended. Can you relax? Like,
he says it's just begun. It's like, all right, dude. Like, I understand what you're saying. And it's cool and all. But just like, let's take just a little bit of a chill pill, man. Like, you're
like, think about your future.
Exactly. Oh man, I didn't understand. Like, Ryan's a loose cannon. I understand it in some aspects, right? You know what I mean?
It's Dawn. The Dawn in him.
So Taylor Handley, that's his name. Okay, the guy that plays Oliver is fantastic, right? You know what I mean? Like
I hate him.
I mean, obviously yes, but. In this episode, like, he flipped that switch this episode, right? He went to like crazy madman, especially in this scene. And I was very like, holy cow, like that was really good. Like that was it. But Ryan with the one-liner back, he's like, it's over. And he's like, it's just begun. And it's like, oh, okay. All right.
It's really funny because I'm always like, this is just a teen drama. But then I always understand the soap opera thing.
Yes.
And stuff like this happens because I'm like, yes. But I love Julie wants to carpool to the office with Kirsten. And Kirsten's like, I'm working from home and in a robe. And Sandy's like, you have to talk to Caleb about the thing.
Yes.
which is about Julie.
Yep.
And so Kirsten goes to get dressed, and Ryan decides to talk to Julie.
Yep.
And she has a pretty funny line. She's like, the boy who lives in the pool house, warning me about the boy who lives in the penthouse. It's such a Julie thing because, like, that's all she cares about. She doesn't care about, like, a person. But it's really funny because in this conversation, Julie's very dismissive and, like, doesn't care. And to me, I'm, like, typical Julie. Like, she's worried about herself, not anything else. But we find out later something else.
Yes. It's funny because she goes, aren't you supposed to be at school? He's like, I got suspended. And she goes, shocker, who did you punch?
It's really funny. And then he's like, I guess you haven't talked to Marissa in a while.
Yeah.
And then she kind of turns it around and it's like, I guess you really haven't talked to Marissa in a while.
So funny.
It's really funny.
Their banters are always great, right? You know
they have really great chemistry, the actors.
Yeah, it's always, and it's because it's always sarcastic. It's always like very demeaning to each other.
They're always like, even before social distancing, like keep 6 feet away from me. Like they don't want to touch each other. Like, but it's really funny because like Ryan has pointed out, Marissa or Julie is from somewhere similar to Ryan.
Yes.
So like he knows the real Julie.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. He knows and that he knows how to get to her too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows how to push her button.
Because he also is like a fish out of water in the situation. Doesn't want to lose. Like, but to Julie it's much more. But it's just really funny. Like
it's fantastic.
I also keep forgetting that Julie dyed her hair like really red, and every time she pops up on screen, I'm like, why is her hair so red?
So good. Oliver
is a baby, let me tell you. A baby. Like, Marissa doesn't want to ditch school, doesn't want to ditch therapy, better her life. He's like, like, come on. Like, grow up.
Just like that. He sounded just like that. I swear he did.
I hate him. He's basically complaining and crying that Marissa won't ditch school, ditch therapy, make her mom mad.
Yeah, like.
But then she does it anyway.
There's no warning signs. No warning signs here.
Like he's basically crying that she won't do all this bad things to go hang out with him. But then she ditches anyway. And the camera pans to Luke and Seth watching
the smartest man on the show and the least smartest person on the show. You figure out who I'm talking about right now.
And Luke is kind of like, you know what? I don't trust that guy. Like, where are they going? And Seth is like, don't you start too. You sound just like Ryan. And Luke is like, no, listen. Like, I don't trust him.
Yeah.
And he's like, have you ever met Natalie? And they start talking about this Natalie Bishop, Oliver's ex-girlfriend. And he's like, you know what? She said that she went to this other high school. I'm going to ask around.
Got for some friends at the water
Okay, it's really funny that this would not happen now because of social media.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. It would have been a hey, like.
Let me pull up Instagram. Oh.
But let's be real. And if this was this day and age, Oliver would have had a fake Natalie Bishop Facebook account.
Probably. But I mean, like they would have no pictures together.
Oh, come on. He would have probably photoshopped some or something.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
He's come on. He's a psychopath.
People would have caught on to his lies a lot earlier.
Kirsten and Caleb. This is hilarious to me.
So she comes in and she's like, Dad, can I talk to you about something? And he's like, what? I'm busy. And she's like, it's Julie. And he's like, close the door.
And he is like.
And the second the door closes, he's like, she's driving me crazy. And Kirsten's face is like, what? Because Kirsten is nervous to have this conversation.
Yeah. And, he thinks that they're a couple. She's working for him. So it's like oh my God, I have to have this grown folk conversation with my dad. And
then it sounds like Caleb is like, let's fire her. And then Kirsten starts to realize he means, I don't want you to fire her. I want you to break up with her for me.
It's the best ever.
Such a Caleb move.
It really is too.
It's just so awful.
So funny though. He just gets started. He's like the way he says, "Close the door," and it was so funny because it was a very it was a different side of Caleb that we have really kind of yet to see. Kind of like we know he's somewhat fun and goofy, but here he just was like, I'm at wit's end with Julie Cooper. Like, I need this chick gone forever.
It was so funny.
Now we transition to the scene we were talking about earlier with Seth and Summer. He is trying to Seth, Summer and Anna. You can't say one without the other two. Right now, he is learning her up on the trades of comic books. Summer has a newfoundly investment into comic books, which is obviously driving a wedge between Seth and Anna's relationship. And while this is happening, our good dear friend Sandy walks into the room and realizes what Seth is doing to Anna. Anna's very standoffish, very frustrated, makes the faces that we've talked about, I don't know, maybe 4 times already in this 30 minutes of the episode so far. And it's quite interesting. Then we have a scene, the transition, where Anna goes into the kitchen with Sandy.
It's really sad. It's so sad. So Anna's always established that she's like more mature than everyone else on the show that's their age.
Yep.
And she's kind of talking to Sandy, and at first she's kind of like, just, I always thought like I was the only one with these interests. And then she's like, do you and Mrs. Cohen have a lot in common? And he's like, well, we both love Seth. And he's like, that's pretty much it. And she's like, what do you think the key to a successful relationship is? Which is like really awkward to ask your boyfriend's dad, I imagine. Like, I know that she knows he's picking up on it, but it's just like really weird to ask that. And then I love that Kirsten keeps coming in, like, help me with the groceries. Like, you don't help me with the groceries, you're not going to eat dinner. Like, and then Sandy keeps being like, I'm coming. And then eventually Seth comes in the kitchen and Anna's like, you know what? I will get the groceries, because Seth goes, is it cool if Summer stays for dinner? While Anna's standing right there. Not can my girlfriend Anna stay for dinner. Not even can Anna and Summer both stay for dinner. It's right. Can Summer stay for dinner?
Can Summer stay for dinner? Oh my God. This entire sequence. And
then I don't remember what Sandy hits him with. He hits him with something, like over the head, and he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, what?
And he doesn't think he has done anything wrong here.
And it's really uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden, Luke comes in carrying groceries.
Where'd Luke come from?
It's really weird. Also, like, if Ryan is in trouble, why are they letting him have visitors?
It just looks, everybody's at the Cohen household right now.
And it makes no sense to me. Like, not that I had a sibling close in age, but like my brother and sister are twins. And like when one of them was in trouble, the other one couldn't really have people over, because then the other one would hang out with them.
Right.
I don't know. It was really weird. But basically Luke comes in and he's like, you know what? Hey, I talked to people at Oliver's old school. There's no Natalie Bishop.
Yep.
And Ryan is like, it's on. And I don't see Luke leave. It's really weird. He kind of just disappears.
He does. He walks out the pool house.
It's really weird.
Because we go back inside.
Yeah. I don't see him being like, bye, Cohen's. Like, it's weird.
Yes.
And then they show everyone at the table. Yep. Summer, Anna, Sandy, Kirsten, Seth. And they're all sitting, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's no more chairs left. Just want to point that out.
Right. Let's go get Ryan for dinner. Well, where's Ryan going to sit?
But why did Sandy sit and then say, you know what, I'm going to go get Ryan? Like, wouldn't you be like, where the fuck is Ryan? The one that's grounded and in trouble? Like, I don't understand. If I'm in trouble, right? I'd be helping in the kitchen.
Exactly.
I'm going to be showing my face, because when I never really got in trouble, I was like a really like goody two shoes, like annoying kid. But when I did get in trouble, I would be super annoying to my parents. So they'd be like, you can go wherever you want. Just get out of my hair.
Yep.
You're everywhere they turn around. So that way they're like, can you please go? Like, I don't want you here.
Yeah. I get
that. And 100%. Ryan would know to do this.
Same way I am.
But then they don't show Sandy realize that Ryan's not there, but they show Ryan confronting Marissa, who's pulling up to her house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you know what? I like that he kind of tries to talk to her, and then he gets really upset, and he's like, there's no Natalie.
Yep.
That is not the way I would handle it.
Not.
I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. It's also not the way Ryan would handle it, which is something, like, I truly don't understand. And then Julie comes out, and Marissa's, like, crying, yelling, like, I don't even know what she's trying to say, because she's not really forming, like, sentences. She's just like, you, and she's crying.
Yep.
And then she's like, you called my mom. And that's how you know that Julie did take what Ryan said earlier to heart a little bit, because she confronted the school and Marissa about all of this.
Yep.
And then Julie comes out and she's like, Marissa, get in the house. You're already in trouble. And then she's like, screw both of you. And she drives off crying.
Just bolts.
I don't understand. But if I were Julie, I would have just grabbed the keys out of Marissa's hands, because then she can't go anywhere.
Exactly. That's like, that was my
very weird thing.
My thoughts
Very
exactly.
Weird. And then once again, Sandy is standing in the driveway of the Cohen's house and has seen this whole thing go down, which is just once again, like, Ryan, can you be a little smart? Like, also, why doesn't he just say, like, Sandy, can I talk to you? What do I do? Yeah. Oliver's been pretending he has this girlfriend. And Luke, why didn't he just grab Luke and be like, can you come talk to Sandy with me?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because then he could be like, it's not just me.
Right. I'm not the only crazy one here.
Like Luke, her ex-boyfriend, is also
Summer,
worried.
And then, wait a minute. Why not?
Summer was there.
Yeah, Summer's there too. Like, so when Luke's there, which Luke and Summer don't see each other, and it's just like,
I just don't understand, because they all just went to Oliver's Palm Springs house where that whole thing went down.
Yes.
And like, I just don't get, like, Ryan has someone in his corner, and this whole thing has been like, no one believes Ryan. But it's like, people do. You guys just are not communicating.
Nobody's listening.
I just think, like, if you're in trouble and no one's believing you, this was the time to be like, hey, Luke was looking into it because he cares about Marissa.
Yes.
And he doesn't trust this guy. And he found out that he is lying about this huge thing.
100%. I mean, and you have everybody so if you do this at the dinner table, right? Or like when Luke comes into your bedroom, everybody's eating dinner, right?
He could have just grabbed Sandy and Summer very easily. But if I were Ryan, I would have pulled the dramatic move. I've been like, Luke, come to the dinner table.
Right, exactly.
And in front of everyone.
In front of everybody. And then Summer would have been probably like, yeah, like, he loves her. Like exactly.
I tried to talk to Marissa and she was like, I'm yours, Summer. Like, hang out alone. Like, I don't get it. But it's just weird.
Very, very weird.
But then Marissa goes to Oliver's and she's like, can I stay here? It's very weird. Where is Jimmy in this episode?
He's out of town. He's
the whole week, though? I thought it was just the weekend.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I can't go with you over the weekend because my dad's out of town this weekend and I have to stay with my mom. But it's like the school week, and where is Jimmy?
Yeah, Jimmy's just gone. Where is Jimmy? Like, Jimmy ain't got no money.
Because she goes, I have to go to dinner with my mom tonight. Because I thought it was weird, because if she was going to dinner with her mom but not staying with her mom, wouldn't she have just met her mom at a restaurant?
Right.
Because then they could have taken 2 separate cars home.
Yeah.
But then they show Sandy waking Ryan up with coffee and a bagel. And then Kirsten comes in with coffee to wake him up. Yep. It's really funny. They both had the same
idea.
And they're kind of like, just talk to us. Just tell us what's going on. I'm like, stop having this conversation and maybe just listen to what he's saying.
Hey!
I don't know. And then Luke comes back to their house.
Yeah. Luke
which is all weird. Over he drives a lot of miles in a big truck.
He does. He's probably get like 10 miles to the gallon. He's all over town though.
He's like, what did Marissa say? And he's like, well, she got mad and left and probably went to Oliver's. He's like, well, let's go get her. And he's like, dude, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, no one believes me. And I'm like, okay, just grab Luke.
Grab Luke, bring him to Sandy.
And be like, listen.
Sandy, it's not me anymore. It's not me. It's them.
And then, like, they cut to Marissa and Oliver having breakfast.
He's trying to take her to Paris.
And he's very dramatic about like, she's like, I can't go to Paris. Like,
he wants to go to Paris right now. Oh, it's just a 15-hour flight.
And she's like, no, like it's a school week. Like I can't go to Paris. Like,
maybe.
And I like that they went from like, we should go to LA for the weekend to like, let's go to Paris. Like, and like, aren't they underage? Like, wouldn't they have to have like their parents sign forms and stuff
well, yeah, especially this time frame. Like nowadays, it's easy. Yeah, no, yes.
Because like I went to Europe for a school trip, and like it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
All these slips, and then Luke calls, and Oliver's like, "Don't answer that." Yeah. And then Marissa answers, and he's like, "Listen, like Natalie's not real." And she's like, "You too?" Yeah. And she said, "Just give me clothes, drop him off, whatever." And he's like, "Fine," because Luke knows at least that way he can try to reason with her a little bit, which I think is a smart move.
Luke's the guy that's getting the clothes back. That's just a weird dynamic.
Yeah, but I like that he's smart enough to know not to be like, "No, screw you," because he knows that's one more way to try to reason with her instead of just like brushing her to the side.
Exactly.
Julie did good on Kirsten's Office.
She
really likes
is blown away by The Office.
And then she's starting to break the news to Julie, like, my dad wants to break up with you. And then out of nowhere, Caleb walks in, and Julie is hilarious.
Oh my God.
She is
so
like,
funny.
Caleb, Kirsten here was in the middle of doing your dirty work for you, and she freaks out. She's like, I quit, which is so dumb because if she gotten fired, she could have collected unemployment.
Yeah, way to go there, Jules.
Just dumb, but Caleb's super awkward.
She has a statement where she's, I deserve better from both of you. What
she does.
Kirsten do? Kirsten was
like,
just trying to stand up and do what her dad asked her to do, really. I mean,
yeah, but like, they're like friends at this point, you know?
Yes. We transition to Anna, Summer, Seth, the famous trio. Anna's upset. Sandy called, he said, Seth, bring Seth to the other room, and lays into him. Like,
I also just want to comment on Sandy's really cool dad fit. He has like wet hair from surfing and showering right after. Mm-hmm. He has a Stanford sweatshirt on. Mm-hmm. It's just, or Berkeley. No, I feel like it said Stanford.
I think it did say Stanford.
Which is weird because that's what they say his name is. And I'm like, Sandy?
Yeah.
Stanford? And then he went to Berkeley. Why does he have a...
Caleb,
I'm pretty sure it was a Stanford sweatshirt. Yeah, maybe he did, so you would remember his name. But he like goes off on Seth. And to be completely fair, I feel like Sandy is correct here, even though I do think Seth has a point, because Seth is like, I think you're not mad at me. I think you're mad at Ryan.
Right. And
him not coming to you, so you're like forcing this.
Yeah, but at the same time, he is 100% right. Yeah. What you're doing right now, Seth.
He's like, you are disrespecting Anna, and he's like, you're my son, and my job is to make sure you don't treat anyone like this, let alone like your girlfriend.
Yep.
And I just love that at first Sandy's like, you're hurting her feelings. And he's like, I'm not hurting Summer's feelings. And he's like, Anna, your girlfriend, Anna. Like, it's hilarious.
So good.
And then I think Seth was flirting, just to say.
Yes, 100%.
And then,
I mean, you got to think about this. This is a girl that he's been in love with his entire life.
Like, and I get it, but to be fair,
a little bit of emotions.
I just feel like he had the option. He chose Anna. This is his fault.
I do think Anna made the best move, though, because, she just showed up on New Year's. So, like, she kind of forced his hand. You know what I mean?
Like,
I'm not saying he could have. No. I'm not making excuses for. I'm just saying if Summer would have showed up on New Year's, it would have been the same. You know what I mean? Flip flop.
But see, that's not a very good start to a relationship. It doesn't matter who showed up.
Somebody just showed up, and that's.
And then it cuts to the most awkward parent-child conversation. Luke shows up to get Marissa's stuff, and Julie's crying because of her breakup.
Yeah.
And Luke and Julie have a moment. And Julie's like, you should go. And I'm like, this is so uncomfortable.
Yep.
and I just didn't want to watch it.
It was super uncomfortable. Like, yeah, I'm okay with just moving on. I mean,
I can't. I don't want to get to that storyline at all.
It's weird. Front desk, Marissa.
Yeah, Marissa goes down. She's like, "Hey, did someone drop off a bag for me? I'm staying in the penthouse with Oliver Trask." And the concierge gets a phone call, and she's like, "My name's Natalie. Can I put you on hold?" And she notices her name badge also says Natalie, and she's like, "Natalie?" And she's like, "Natalie Bishop?" And she's like, "Yes." She's like, "Do you know Oliver?" And she's like, "Yes, I've known him since he was a kid." Super awkward.
Question.
Yes.
Why does she go back upstairs?
Okay, so I have 2 questions. I mean, I understand why she goes back upstairs. She should not have told him or confronted him. And I know she didn't confront him in like an angry way.
No, but we've seen how he acts whenever you.
Yeah. So I just don't get why she did this. I think she should have like called someone. I don't know. Because like they establish there's a phone that you can use in the lobby.
Yes.
And I also don't understand like that. She realizes this person knows her Oliver well enough, like since he was a kid.
Right.
She could be like, listen, like I think he's up. Like I don't think he's doing very well.
Yeah.
You should call
his parents. Yeah, call his parents.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like she handled this really weirdly.
Yeah.
Because she goes back upstairs.
He starts beating on himself, hitting himself.
Because she doesn't like confront him per se. I guess she's kind of like, hey, do you want to know what's the weirdest thing? The concierge, her name is Natalie Bishop, like your ex-girlfriend.
Whoa.
And she says it, and she's like, oh my god, it's so weird. Like,
and then he just
freaks out, starts hitting his face. I don't know why he does that.
Do I?
It's weird. Marissa
kind of calms him down.
She's like, you know what? Let's just relax. Like, it's weird, but like, whatever. Let's relax. Let's still go. She calls Ryan, and my favorite part about the whole conversation is she goes, "You're right. He's freaking out. I'm in trouble."
Yeah.
And they show Anna setting the table. Not Seth. And he's like, never fear, Anna's here. And she's like, you noticed.
So good.
It was really good. And then Ryan's trying to leave, and he's like, he has the car keys. And Sandy's like, no, you're not leaving. Like, give me the keys. And he's like, you said if I came to you, you would help me. Marissa's in trouble.
Give me the keys.
And he's like, give me the keys. And he's like, I'll drive.
Yeah.
Which he should take an adult. I don't understand why he was trying to go without taking an adult.
Yeah, made no sense.
Like, I understand it's like a teenage soap opera thing, but like, this is an adult situation.
Yeah, because she says he's got a gun.
No, she hasn't said that yet.
No, she said that later. Okay, but see, but we're still in a predicament where Ryan knows how unpredictable Oliver is.
Yeah, and so he knows that he tried to harm himself. So why wouldn't he try to harm Marissa
to get whatever he was trying to get
there? It's dumb. But my favorite part about this whole thing is they cut back to Oliver, who confronts Marissa. He's like, are you dumb? Of course I'm in love with you. Exactly. Like, how can you not see this? I'm like, damn. Like, I agree with Oliver after all this.
Right. After the 4 or 5 episodes of torture, Oliver has finally done what everybody else has refused. Well, Summer did it too, but, yes.
And then Sandy and Ryan are in the lobby calling the penthouse.
We realize that is in fact Natalie Bishop as well.
It's hilarious.
Yes.
So
everybody's finding out Natalie Bishop is just a hotel.
Poor Natalie Bishop, let me tell you.
It's not a good episode for Natalie Bishop.
So then they show Natalie, Sandy, Ryan, and a couple security guards going up.
Armed security guards,
yeah,
by the way.
which is 4 seasons, man. The actual hotel, not landscaping. They go to the door and they're knocking, and Oliver's like, you know what? Everything's fine. I don't want to open. I just got out of the shower. Yep. Everything's fine. Mm-hmm. And Ryan's like, no. He starts banging on the door. He's like, Marissa. She doesn't answer. They're about to leave, and Marissa screams, he has a gun.
Yo.
They immediately go in.
Yes.
I'm glad Marissa said that. I would never forgive her if she.
Oh, just let it go.
But to be fair, I'm not going to forgive her in general for this whole thing.
Yeah.
Just want everyone to know that.
So Marissa will not be MVP again. Got it.
Never. Ryan, out of all people, convinces Oliver to put down the gun. He's like, "You're not going to hurt my feelings."
Yeah.
You're only
I said he gave him
Marissa.
the Sandy speech is basically what I put down.
He kind of tells him, like, you're only going to upset Marissa. You're not going to hurt anybody else. You're only going to hurt Marissa. And, like, do you really want to do that?
Yep.
And he puts the gun down. Marissa runs to him. I have two questions. Where did he get the gun? I understand his family's wealthy, but, like, they live in a hotel. His parents are nowhere to be found.
I don't even know how
would they leave a kid behind who had tried to kill himself. That they were like, you know what, he's messed up enough, he needs to go to therapy, because back then therapy wasn't as easily accessible and like encouraged as it is now. Like it used to be a heavier thing. I don't get it. 2, what if Ryan hadn't been right and this had just gone on forever? Like Oliver was a permanent member of the cast.
Right. Just
like he was just like a jerk, like Luke. Like God.
We transition to Kirsten, who gets off the phone and says to Seth and to Anna, who's sitting there, that Marissa's okay.
Okay, I agree with Seth here. I just want to say,
I 100%. But the problem with is like the dominoes of what happened.
The whole episode,
the big picture.
But like, so Seth's immediate reaction is, I have to call Marissa or Summer to let her know about Marissa, and Anna's like, no, like she doesn't even know, and he's like, they're best friends, like she needs to know, and Anna's like, you know what, screw this, like I'm out, peace out, like. I'm done. Breaking up with you.
I'm done.
I totally get it, but like in this exact instance, he's actually correct.
100%. It's her best friend. You know what I mean? Like,
and like there was a gun. Like it's not like
exactly.
Like, I don't know. I think like if there's a gun at stake, you can forgive this little. I don't know. It's very bizarre.
But she breaks up with him.
And then Seth is waiting in the pool house when Ryan gets back.
Reading his comic.
And I love that he has this whole cute, like, the comic is us. And then he's like, hey, I know that you were just, like, in a room with a gun, but do you want to talk about how Anna broke up with me? Because he's Seth, he has to talk about himself.
He says, I'd love to hear about your night, but wait, since I know, let me tell you what happened to me. That's so funny.
It's so funny. It's
so my God. I died laughing here. It was so good. It's so good. It just, and then, and then he says, so Anna broke up with you. He says, why do you think Anna broke up with me?
It's hilarious.
Ryan being funny again.
As always.
Fun fact.
The guy that wrote this episode, he wrote a really famous movie. Can you guess?
No.
Wonder Woman.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Is that the only one you got?
Yeah.
All right. So the guy that directed this episode, Rodman Fletcher, who's been a bunch of TV credits to his name. This is from our buddy Jeremy. Has a huge OC connection in season 4, but directed Idle Hands. He also directed an episode of Dawson's Creek, and Taylor Handley is in a couple episodes of last season. Yeah, so there's a lot of Oliver-centric episode. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy, as always, for listening and providing us a nice little extra fun fact. MVP.
I mean, obviously Ryan.
Yeah, you can't really pick anybody. Yeah, like this is.
I don't think he handled anything the right way, but that doesn't mean I don't think he was the best. Like, come on. No one else did anything in this episode.
Seth's speech, or the Sandy speech, was the best part, right? You know what I mean? Like, and you could see Sandy watching,
knowing like this is my power over this guy.
I did like that. Great. That's what I mean. That's my boy moment right there. Yeah. So, as always, thank you so much for listening to the episode. I can't wait till we listen or to watch next week's episode. I'm very excited with the holidays coming up as well. Make sure to follow Kenzie on Twitter at Kenz Vanunu. Give myself a follow at Ricky _. Thank you so much for the continued support of the show. We are just amazed by the continued comments and support each and every week of the show. So thank you so much for listening. And until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.